ChatGPT thinks you can triple your money if you invest in the new Pokemon 151 set. I asked it some clarifying questions as to how it arrived at that decision, that conclusion, and it was pretty interesting. So let's jump into that. Hello, beautiful people. Captain Zack Sparrow here. I hope you're having a great day today. ChatGPT does think that you'll be able to triple your money. Now, why triple your money in a few years' time? So I specifically asked it and I left it open-ended. I didn't say, tell me why it will be tripled in the next few years. I specifically asked it, well, I'm paraphrasing here, but I did ask it something around the lines of, tell me what you think the price will be for the new Pokemon 151 set in the next 5 years. So I gave it a deadline, what it thinks prices will be at, and I said compare it to any other Japanese Pokemon set, and it explained why. So what it ended up comparing it to was Tag All-Stars and Eevee Heroes. Now, the type of GPT that I use does have access to internet, so it will search the web for you before it gives you an answer. I don't know what all of the searching it did before it came back to me and said, hey, this is why I compared it to Tag All-Stars and Eevee Heroes. I thought that was incredibly fascinating though. So 9 months ago, so not even a full year ago, you could have bought Tag All-Star booster boxes for around $225. And now they're floating at you, they're selling above $500. You're looking at over doubling your money in just the last several months. And that's on the Tag All-Stars side. You would have more than 5x your money even if you bought booster boxes around $100. That being said, Tag All-Stars is an outlier of a set. It's got the waifus all covered. It's got the Sightseer card. It's got, what's her face? Erica's Hospitality. That's in 151. So I'm sensing kind of a trend here. It also has Umbreon and Darkrai. It's got Reshiram and Charizard. It's got all kinds of cool Pokemon within the Tag All-Stars set. I don't have to explain to you guys why Tag All-Stars is a great set. Everyone thinks it's a great set. Okay, everyone thinks Eevee Heroes is a great set too. Interesting. Booster boxes for Eevee Heroes over $400 a box. It more than quadrupled in a few years' time. Okay, they were difficult to get. Eevee Heroes boxes were difficult to get, but even still, you could get them around $100 a box. More than quadrupled your money during that time. You're more than 5x your money on the Tag All-Star side. ChatGPT says that it thinks that you can triple your money in the next few years on 151. Do I think that's outlandish? I don't. Now, past performance is not indicative of future results. However, here's something big that I would tell my clients. That's the only thing we have to go off of. You can speculate as to where the economy is currently at. You can talk about the Fed recently pivoting. You can talk about, on the Japanese side in particular, their stock market is outperforming the United States stock market. Why is that? Does that play into what's happening on the Pokemon side of things? Absolutely it does. That's going to be a whole different video in and of itself. So Pokemon 151 has the waifu cards. Check. It's got all of the original Pokemon in it. It's got the Charizard factor. It's got the Chase, all art factor going for it. It's a hot set. You can't find negative information out there on it unless someone's trying really hard to come up with a negative video, which I still might do just to pour some cold water on the subject. Now, that being said, what we've seen before with a lot of sets, we could see a ton of supply for 151. That's what makes me pump the brakes just a little bit. We don't have to make this too complex though, guys. Eevee Heroes, like looking back, even in the moment, at the time, you knew it was going to be a good set. Everybody likes Eevee. They like all the evolutions. That's not that hard to come up with the conclusion of, okay, this is going to be a good set. Same thing with Tag All-Stars. Same thing with 151. Guys, I don't need to tell you what are going to be the good sets here. You guys know that. The market instinctually understands that. I think 151 is going to stonk hard. Now, that's not me giving investment advice on why I think you need to take a loan out against your car and invest that into 151. Although, no, don't do that. With where we're at currently, the risk that you would have to ask yourself at this point, what is my downside risk? What is the downside potential of this specific set? Could the Pokemon company print this set to oblivion and beyond? Yeah, they could do that. And that will absolutely stifle price appreciation over the coming months and or years. One, we have no way of knowing if that will happen or when that would happen. And two, that's out of our control. So what can I control? I can control how much money I put into this product and when I put money into this product. And I broke that down on my previous videos. Well, I don't need to go into that with you guys in this video. Isn't that something? I'm getting investment advice from ChatGPT, although legally it's saying it's not giving advice, even though it totally gives you advice. And you know what's even crazier? I think it's right. Well, Zach, if you look at past sets, actually, well, and here's the interesting part. How many sets can you name over a 10-year look-back period that didn't appreciate in price? Sure, in the first few years, if you look at a particular set, if it's overprinted, it's not going to appreciate in price. But look at any set ever over a 10-year period of time. Tell me that it didn't grow in price. And again, I'm not saying that 151 is guaranteed to make money, although I will say it will be a historical outlier if it doesn't. And is that possible? Yes. Well, what if everyone tries to sell their 151 product at the same time, Zach? What if everyone tries to sell their homes at the same time? Look, I can sit here all day and come up with a laundry list of imaginary horribles that may or may not play out. But again, what I can't control is how much I'm willing to put into this product, when I'm willing to buy into this product, and then sitting back, watching and waiting for the prices to what I think will eventually appreciate over time. Now, do I think that this will be the best investment in Pokemon and here are the top 10 reasons why you should invest in 151 at this particular time? Maybe, maybe not. Again, sealed product is a stupid easy play, and we don't always need to overcomplicate everything and look at every single angle. You have to realize at the end of the day, what you're doing is putting your dollars in this particular IP. I'm looking at this as one minute segment within my portfolio that I'm investing in the Pokemon company, and that's part of a broader strategy of my degenerate category, if you would want to call it something like that. I think 151 is a home run set. I am going to be putting a lot of money into 151, but I'm not doing it now. I've only bought a couple of boxes literally for personal, I was gonna say pleasure. What I do with these boxes is none of your business. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen my boxes from the Pokemon Center Japan yet. I haven't seen that. So what does that tell me? We haven't seen any product. The product isn't out yet. Of course prices are gonna continue creeping up. That's the only thing they can do when the demand is this high. What do I still believe to my core? I firmly believe we're going to see a significant pullback and a cool down on prices. To what level? That's TBD. I'm absolutely expecting that. When that starts to occur, I will be breaking down on the channel in upcoming videos if I think now's a decent time to consider DCAing into these boxes or to go all in. But we're nowhere close to that right now. The set is just now starting to come out. Now, as far as risk is concerned, and I do want to touch on this quite a bit here, would be, what if we don't see any Pokemon related TV shows ever again? They're cut off from here on out. What if we don't see any more Pokemon video games, expansions coming out ever again? Okay, it might start to kind of look like something like that of He-Man, and some of you may or may not be familiar with He-Man growing up, and that's fine, you don't need to know, but that's an example in and of itself. Another example I can think of would be something like Army Men. Now, this is an anecdotal example, I didn't look it up, but I do know that I, anecdotally, am not seeing as many Army Men played by the nephews these days. I'm seeing them play with a lot more modern day stuff, even some Transformers, even still to this day, but I'm not seeing Army Men as much as I was seeing years past. So could this realistically be something that happens to Pokemon? Yes. Do I think that that will happen, especially in the short term? Absolutely not. But again, it's not just foolproof. It's not dummy proof. All of these companies, just look at whether, no matter what your political, what side you're on, it doesn't matter. Just look at what has happened with some massive brands lately, whether they're going woke or not, or whatever the case. I'm telling you, big businesses, it's complex, it's complicated. It's not as easy as just saying, well, duh, you just need to keep churning out video games. It's a lot more complex than that. Now let's do a little fun experiment here. So if you were to buy a few cases of Pokemon 151 Japanese booster boxes, what I was looking at, I believe they're selling around $2,200 to $2,400 a case right now, which again, I think is too expensive, just flat out, I'm not purchasing them. However, if you were to buy into these cases, let's say eventually it cools off, and let's say it never cools off completely, and you can only get 151 boxes around $100, so we can just make it some easy math right now just for me. Hey Google, what's 100 times 100? So let's say over the coming months, you manage to either DCA or you have a strike price in 151 and you buy 100 boxes for $100. So that's $10,000 that you've put into 151. Let's say that it does triple over the next few years from what ChatGPT is saying, which, for what it's worth, personally, what I have experienced before, what we have seen time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, every set for Pokemon. And again, this truly isn't guaranteed. I'm expecting it for 151 though. If you have $10,000 in these booster boxes, after a few years, 10,000 to 30,000. That's a 200% increase, a 3x on your money. If you invest that money in the S&P 500 on the United States side, and you see what we've historically seen over the last century, which would be around 10% year over year, compound interest, that's something you need to keep in mind. A lot of times when we're talking about percentage increases on the Pokemon side, that's simple interest, so that is completely different. So you're comparing, literally that scenario of apples to oranges, so you do need to keep that in mind. However, if you were to see 10% gains on $10,000 during that time in an S&P 500 type of an index, over 3 years you're looking at, let's see, 10%, and the way the math checks out, it's really weird, it's 33% and change, so it's like 33%, or you could see 200%, allegedly, potentially, for 151. So 33% gain on $10,000 would be something in the neighborhood of like $13,300 or something around there. So what do I think could be a better play? I am quite literally willing to put my money on the 151 side. Some of you might think that's insane. I would argue that it's insane not to, given the macro landscape, what we've historically seen from Pokemon. The TV show's still well and alive, even if you change some characters here and there. Just have new video games being released. Everybody's still playing Pokemon Go. When I say everybody, a lot of people still are. People are still invested in watching these crazy YouTube channels. I'm willing to put my money and my neck, this one right here, on the line for 151. Now, what's something that I could be wrong on? Well, ChatGPT could be wrong. We might not see any appreciation over the next 3 years. We might see the prices go down over the next 3 years. And if that were to happen, if we've seen what we've historically seen with Pokemon over the last couple of decades plus, I would expect there to be too much supply, simply put. But again, and I know I keep bringing this up, but it's so true. Look at CP6. Look at evolutions. It doesn't matter if there's more supply, if there's simply more demand. And I do believe we're seeing that with 151 right now. I don't think it's just speculative. Some of it is, yeah, sure. There's always going to be some speculative action whenever you're talking about cardboard like this. That's just the nature of how humans are. They see something going up in price. It can be easily entered into this field. You don't need to set up a brokerage account or anything. It's incredibly easy to make an eBay account or a Facebook Marketplace account or whatever, you name it. So there you have it. There's my hot take, but also ChatGPT's hot take on 151. What are you going to be doing? I'm excited for the future of this hobby. I'm excited to see where 151 goes. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, be sure and watch this video right here where I break down when I plan on buying 151 and why. I can't turn around. I don't have the room in here to do that anymore. But until next time. Whatever I choose to do with my sealed boxes, they will be wrapped for protection.